Good evening, everyone. This is Dr. Rhonda Farrow, the CEO of Global Innovation Strategies and the Success Strategist, bringing you week 29 of Spotlight on Success. And what are we talking about today? Really the culmination of the year to date, and that's about scaling your business. So oftentimes in the news, in our blogs, in our books, we're seeing this phenomenal and really prescient discussion of the power of AI. And yes, the power of AI is incredible, and it will continue to drive us forwards decades on into the future. And we have such a hunger for technology and the latest gadgets and gizmos that we forget how much we can scale through the power of people. When was the absolute last time you as a CEO, you as a solopreneur, you as an entrepreneur, you as a business executive, you as a business leader, or you as a partner thought about scaling 10 to 25x through the lens of what power moves you can make with your people? I want to direct us back to this point because 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years, as this has been unfolding, we continue to go back to the one thing that we know works: optimization of our leadership and our workforce. And we fail. We fail to harness them. We fail to lead them. We fail to optimize their talents, and we fail to be able to aggregate their skills, abilities, and knowledge and make our organizations excel through the lens of people. And I'm here talking about this today because the big question is why? Why, if we have models, if we have books, if we have methodologies, if we have best practice blueprints, if we have a checklist, if we have change management methodologies, if we have DEIB, if we have innovation management, why then can we not harness our talent to the extent possible? This is a conundrum, folks, that have been going on again for decades, right? If we look at some of these phenomenal quality related organizations that are harnessing Baldrige, that are harnessing Shingo, that are harnessing continuous process improvement, that are harnessing lean, that are harnessing other methodologies, change methodologies, innovation methodologies, what is the one thing we know? That it is about the people. It is about facilitating the dialogue and the interchange of information with a disparate group of people that's going to enable your organization to scale 10 to 25x. And yet we still spend the majority of our budgets on technology, the majority of our focus on AI to drive efficiencies, right? I'm not saying there's not a place, but if we can go back to basics and harness the power of our people to be more readily capable of harnessing technology and AI and process improvements to help us design, develop, field, innovate at a stronger level, how much faster can we scale to the point where our vision can take us to today? And then what is the shortened timeline to be able to double that, triple that, quadruple that, right? That is the power of scale. And so today I'm here talking to you about the core elements of the power of people. Why? Because this matters. This matters today. It mattered 60 years ago. It's going to matter even more so 60 years in the future. And you have the opportunity today to make a decision and commit to doing things differently. And here is a roadmap for you to be able to harness and leverage your peeps so that you can then heighten your capabilities for technology, for AI, for process optimization. So first and foremost, what do we need to do? We need to change our people, or we need to change our people, right? If we're not getting the outcomes and the results, we can't look at the people and say it's not happening, right? It's on us. It lands on us as leaders, as entrepreneurs, as business executives, as owners, right? What do we have to be doing different? And the long and short of it is oftentimes everything, right? We need to understand the culture we want to create, not that the organization organically creates, because that's not really aligned, right? We need to honestly say, where are we at in the bullseye with regard to our mission, our vision, our goals, and our values? And we have to be able to walk that talk. And then we need to put in the control constructs to enable us to optimize our hires, our recruiting, our hires. If we said this is the things that's most important, if we say this is how we're going to steer our ship, these are the factors that are most important to us, and we are going to live by these, and we're going to expand our organization through this lens, then culture is going to be the end all be all. And really culture is person by person by person by person. And that takes a recruiting tool, right? We need to optimize for the outcomes and results we're attempting to achieve. And that means we need to put in assessments. That means we need to put in recruiting tools. That means we need to interview and hire differently for the long term. We can talk about, risk versus reward. What's the cost of a hire that doesn't quite fit? But if we looked at it like we used to look at it, the cost of that one hire that doesn't work is your inability to scale in out year one, out year three, out year five, out year 10, because all you're going to be doing is cyclical type of rehiring until you fix the root cause of the problem, which is oftentimes culture, right? So culture, what is the map and what is the bullseye? Ikigai is a perfect. Ikigai can be for individual leaders. Ikigai can be for workforce. But you know what? Ikigai can be for your organizational culture. What matters most? How are you going to walk the talk? And how are you going to reinforce walking that talk? Then what is the control gates you're going to put in place to drive awareness of what matters most, to recruit, to hire, to integrate, to or onboard, to integrate, and basically help enable, empower, and entrust your people to help you scale 10 to 25x. So building a high performance culture is all about excellence. It's all about environment. It's all about empowerment, and it's all about elevation so that every single person is completely in line and aligned. Next, strategic talent management, right? We just talked about that. We're really needing to create a funnel for our workforce, for our leaders, for our partners, and most of all, our customers, right? We don't want a customer that is not in alignment with our culture, right? Because we want to be able to exponentially serve through the lens of that culture and scale. So just as important is which customers we're allowing into our organization, which partners we're allowing into our organization, which leaders, which suppliers, right? All of those things matter. So if we look at it through the lens or similar to the lens of talent management, we understand how do we drive awareness and what are the attraction factors? How do we retain? How do we nurture and reward and again empower and elevate top talent, right? And theoretically, I know we talk about the distribution curve of low performance, mid performance, high performance. But if we just take that crap and throw it on its ear and say everyone can optimize their performance to peak to the skills that they bring to the table, we can get a lot further, a lot faster. So again, attract, retain, nurture, empower, elevate. We need to, again, put in the control gates to enable us to stay aligned to our culture and to what we've stated as most important from our values and from our in depth is really mission, vision, goals, values, culture are enablers that help us achieve our outcomes and our results. And it's up to us to optimize that mix and the people that align within that mix so that we can see that. So what else do we have to be thinking about? We need to be thinking about tools. We need to be thinking about applications. We need to be thinking about frameworks and methodologies that's going to help us understand about personnel, about team balancing, about organizational diversity, and how to facilitate the different types and age ranges or generations within our organization. So we can't just say, yes, we know we have 5 generations. That's going to be a doozy, but we need to do something about it because we need to be able to understand how to pair them strategically so that we can get 1 + 1 = 3, not 0, not negative, through the issues and the challenges that can arise if we don't know how to balance or build and balance our teams correctly. So there's an art and a science to this, right? I'm not saying we're going to get it right the first, but the core is making a decision and making a commitment to harness these tools to understand how far can you move the needle with optimization of your workforce and your leadership to get that broader scaling power. The next is really through the lens of innovation and collaboration and creativity and DEIB initiatives are all about this, right? It's not only about the identification of underrepresented populations for your organizations for that sake. It's about understanding what they bring to the table, being willing to explore the power of that. And that's where these tools come into play, right? We have innovation readiness tools, we have team balancing tools, we have recruiting tools, we have cultural optimization tools. Make a commitment in 2024 to change the narrative, to change the status quo, to do and be differently so that you can scale up to 25x through the power of your people. When we think of this, the first place we go oftentimes is communication, communication, and communication, but that's only part of the puzzle here. Collaboration is about letting people bring their strengths from a fit for purpose standpoint to the table and have them be harnessed and be able to do that in totality for the greater good. That's where we fall short because of typically, right, if you think about the group dynamic, the group think, we so oftentimes want consensus and alignment with what a leader thinks instead of not judging, not making a statement, but opening that up, right? If we open up the narrative to what is in the realm of possible with an outcome and a result such as a dollar figure or a percentage, and we allow the creativity, we allow the innovation, we allow the optimization, we allow the technology, we allow the AI, we allow the process, and we allow different ways of structuring and engaging our workforce to come forth from that, because we're getting outside of our own way because we've not put a box around what that solution needs to look like. So collaboration at its best is us either bringing someone in to help facilitate, to maximize the talent, maximize the knowledge, skills, and abilities that your teams currently have, and being willing to innovate and try new things, right? You could do this quarter by quarter, you could do this half a year, you could do it a full year, but the most important thing is you're willing to make a change, you're willing to measure the outcomes that that change is having, and then you're willing to pivot so that you can either scale further, right? Because you found what's working, or you're willing to take another informed risk because even if you didn't get all the way that you thought, that tweak of your organization worked and you're getting better performance, higher revenues, lower costs, better utilization of your talent, and you scaled to a certain percentage and there's more. And that should be what you're hungry for. How can I move the needle in all of those three legs of the stool to be able to optimize the outcomes and the results? And the people leg of that stool is just as important as the technology and the process. And I'm here today to tell you and ask you and give you fodder for trying a different approach and seeing the scaling capabilities that you can bring to your organization. Last three, empowering leadership. What do we do as solopreneurs and entrepreneurs? We tend to box things in from our results and success from our vision, right? So oftentimes, what are we doing as solopreneurs and entrepreneurs? We're learning to get out of our own organization's way because we cannot be the ceiling for what's possible, right? And as soon as we can understand that, and as soon as we can park that ego out the door, and as soon as we can allow in different ideas, different ways of thinking, different ways of doing, and different ways of projecting what if, how far, what's possible from a scaling percentage, the further we're going to go and the faster we're going to optimize. And that's about inspiring. That's about motivating. That's about driving your team forward. That's about measuring your resources and the support that they need to succeed. That's about empathy and accountability. That's about strategic thinking. And that's about alignment, that creation and alignment to culture. We want them to feel valued. We want them to feel empowered. We want them to be elevated. We want them to be able to contribute their best work. And we can only do that when we, as leaders, as solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, executives, C-suites, middle management, team leaders, have committed to making that happen within our environments. Last two, fostering innovation. What are we trying to do? Again, changing the culture so that we can better optimize our workforce, creativity, innovation. Why? Because this enables optimization and a heightened competitive, let me put this at a collaboratively collective competitive approach to taking on your next place in the marketplace. We want to harness the tools, the innovation tools, brainstorming, innovation labs, cross-functional collaboration. There's a plethora that we've talked about earlier in the year. I don't think we have to introduce new ones. We've talked about AI. We've talked about innovation, strategic innovation roadmaps. We've talked about the different tools in that toolkit that you can pull from. Some are free, some cost money, but the most important thing is decide, commit, invest, measure, pivot where appropriate, but most of all, scale, scale, scale. Last but not least is that learning, right? That once we do this, once we put the cultural building blocks in place, we've recruited and hired the talent, we've put in these collaborative work practices, we're empowering, engaging, empowering, elevating with empathy, etc. We're innovating. Right now, we need to be willing to do our lessons learned. I know this is not fun because sometimes we're driving at warp speed, but if we're not hitting our mark, or even if we are, we need to stop every now and then and say, what are we doing right? What are we not doing so great that we thought we were going to be doing great? And how do we change that to a different tact or a different tool or a different technique or a different framework or a different methodology or a different team, so that we can scale to a higher level? We need to understand, again, what's working, what's not, what tools do we have in the toolkit to tweak further with, and what are we committed to doing for the next time interval. Again, these 6 primary elements of scaling your business 10 to 25x, what? Through the power of people. You have them, you need them. Now you need to optimize them so that they can help bring you the success that you and your organization deserve. This is Dr. Rhonda Farrell, the CEO of Global Innovation Strategies, the Success Strategies. You can reach me at advisor1@successstrategist.com or CEO@GBLINNOV.com. We'd love to help you scale your business through the power of people.